Okay, now we'll go on to Team Trentini DOP. Can you please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your experience with the project?
Hello. So here we have Stefano, who participated in the team, and so he wants to say hello, and he will do it. Did you hear? Okay. And so we made a project about understanding the relation between temperature and pressure on the space station. So it was about the readings about the internal values from the we got from the station. Okay.
Great, thank you
That's it.
so much. Okay, we will now move on to Team Lampone. If you can please introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about your project.
Hi, I'm Nicola from Tilampone. Nicola, Matteo, Florian and Giulia.
Okay, we are from Trento, Italy, and the purpose of our experiment was to estimate the ISS velocity using the image taken from a Raspberry camera. And we tried to find a matching point between image and data from gyroscope and accelerometer to estimate the velocity. And we got it.
Great. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so now that we have you on the line, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can introduce yourself and give us a little bit of an introduction.
Yes, so hi, good morning, everybody. And firstly, delighted to be with you all this morning. And huge congratulations to all the winning teams from the 2017-2018 AstroPi competition. It's always, this competition holds a special place in my heart because it was one of the first ones that we decided to run with Mission Principia. And when we started off, we didn't really know, what sort of response we were going to get. And the response over the years has just been phenomenal, not just with Mission Principia, but following on from that with Thomas Pesquet's mission, with Paolo Nespoli's mission, and of course, now we're going to be doing AstroPi again with Alex Guest's mission, who's just gone up into space. So thank you so much for taking part. It's hugely important. Code clubs, Coderdojos, Raspberry Pi Foundation, these kind of activities are really giving you guys fantastic skills in computer science, computer coding. And what's so impressive is just the kind of innovation and the blue skies thinking that you have come up with these ideas of how to use an AstroPi in space, be it using the infrared Earth observation imaging cameras, using the pixelation of the sensor for a radiation detector, calculating the speed of the ISS, looking at vegetation over planet Earth. I mean, the breadth and scope of what you've done is absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for taking part. Congratulations on being part of the winning teams. And I know we've only got about half an hour to talk, so I think I'll just hand it over to you guys to ask any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll now move on to Team Trentini DOP. We have unmuted you. Please go ahead and ask your question to
Hello, our team is Trentini DOP, and we're from Trento, specifically Coderdojo Trento. We are now at the Avio School, who is our partner in a coding summer camp. So, the question is,
what is the typical astronaut day like? Do you need to perform physical activity each day?
Hello, yeah, hi team Trentini DOP, great to speak to you this morning. Yes, you do have to do physical exercise every day. You can take one day off a week if you want to, but most astronauts exercise every day for about 2 hours. Part of that is actually for pleasure. Most of us enjoy being fit and healthy anyway, and so we like to work out. But also, if you can imagine on a space station, you float all day long and you really don't use your muscles very much at all. It's very easy working on board the space station physically. The only time it's physically very, very hard is when you're on a spacewalk. But otherwise, inside the space station, for the most time, it's very easy. So we really actually enjoy, you really feel like doing some exercise at the end of the day. So be that jumping on the treadmill or on the bike machine, or we even have kind of a weight machine. Although you can't actually lift weights in weightlessness, we use vacuum cylinders to provide resistance so we can exercise our muscles. So yes, we work out every day, but you know, most of our days are spent doing a mixture of science experiments or maintaining the space station, as well as doing our fitness exercise and educational programs and other activities like that. But probably the science and the maintenance are the two things that take up most of our time. The space station's been up there for 20 years now. It's been occupied for 18 years. So you can imagine that it does take a little bit of care and maintenance to keep it going. And so sometimes that maintenance is outside the space station on a spacewalk, and sometimes it's maintenance inside the space station. But no 2 days are ever the same. And that's what is great about working up there, is every day you're doing something different, either a different science experiment or working on a different part of the space station. And so it's always an interesting time. And you also have to work with all the mission control centers around the world. So that's not just Houston, that's Moscow, that's Munich, Tsukuba in Japan, Huntsville for payloads as well. So we're working with these control centers all around the world, which makes it a very, very interesting work environment.
Well, you're certainly making us jealous, Tim. Okay, thank you so much. We'll now move on to Team Lampone. We have unmuted you, so go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, I'm Nicola, Team Lampone from Coderdojo Trento. The question is, how do you manage alternating day and night cycles on the ISS? And does the absence of regular sunlight affect your body?
Hey, Team Lamponi, great question. It's quite hard in the first 2 weeks when you arrive in space to get used to the fact that we're experiencing 16 sunsets and sunrises every day. Of course, we go around the Earth every 90 minutes. And that does affect your circadian rhythm, so your day-night cycle and your sleep regime as well. It's amazing. You don't notice down here on Earth, we're so used to living on Earth that we don't notice how our bodies get into a very strict regime. And daylight plays an important part in that regime. It regulates when we feel tired, when we feel awake, when we want to eat, when we feel like exercising, even when we need to go to the loo. I mean, those kind of things are all regulated by Mother Nature. And when you go into space, of course, that all gets a little bit mixed up. And for the first 2 weeks, it can be tricky to get to sleep. And we tend not to sleep that long. Maybe that's because we're not so tired, because we're not working so hard in space. But, you know, 6 hours sleep a night for astronauts is plenty. You don't really need much more than that. I made one mistake early on in the mission. It was about 11 o'clock at night. I was brushing my teeth. I was about to go to bed, but there was a fantastic pass coming up over the Bahamas, and I wanted to look and see the Bahamas. So I opened the hatch, and of course it was midday in the Bahamas, and all this bright sunlight came into the space station. I took some photographs, stayed there for about 5 minutes, and I didn't sleep for the whole night because I had so much stimulation from all that ultraviolet coming into my eyes that my body was just like, okay, it's midday and you're not going to bed. So the worst thing you can do just before going to sleep is to look outside the window if it's daytime. We tend to close up the space station hatches at night so that it helps us get used to going to sleep. And in fact, since I've landed, we've changed our lights on board the space station, so they're not fixed frequency. They used to be just a fixed frequency white light, very clinical, like a laboratory. And now we've got LED lights, so we can shift frequency. So we have blue-white lights during the daytime when we need to be alert, and then it starts to redshift during the night, and it gets much softer. So from the evening meal onwards, we're already trying to get our bodies into that good circadian rhythm. But yeah, great question. I mean, the day-night cycle is very important, and light on the space station plays a huge part in our circadian rhythm.
Great, thank you so much, Tim.